Welcome to a Minorities Report. This is episode 15. As a pastor and entrepreneur and someone deeply invested in people's stories, I've had the privilege to walk with folks through all kinds of seasons, weddings, funerals, wins and losses, breakthroughs, and breakdowns. But one of my favorite things to do is to sit across from someone and hear about their journey, where they come from and what they've overcome and how they're making a mark in their corner of the world. This podcast, A Minorities Report, was born out of that heartbeat to amplify the voices of those who often go unheard. Today's episode is no exception. I get to sit down with someone who lived multiple lives, seems like, in one lifetime. A personal trainer. Before that, he was a DJ, a lifestyle health coach, a gas station owner, and an all-around entrepreneur. His name is Anish Chawla. Born in India, raised in the U.S., and now based here in Northern Nevada. Anish is the founder of Life as Anish and the owner of Sierra Arco and SS Incorporated. He's been helping people transform not just their bodies, but their mindset, all while running a business most people wouldn't last a day in. So whether you're in the car or at the gym or just winding down at home, I invite you to lean in, and there's wisdom here, there's hustle, and there's a story worth hearing. Welcome, Anish. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you, man. Honor's all mine.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised, and what led you and your family to immigrate here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so I was born in a state called Punjab, India. City more primarily in Chandigarh, India, which is a big prominent city even to this day.
Yeah.
I came here back in December of 94. Wow. So I was only about 4 years old, almost 5, and came here at a very young age. 2 older brothers, so there was 3 of us, my parents, and at that time when we came, my grandparents from my dad's side were already in the States, and I had an aunt, an uncle here already, a couple other family members, but initially the plan was to never actually come here. It came more from there was a lot of violence and crime going on around the area that we were living in, and where my dad had worked, there was a lot of crime and a lot of violence going on there. And so my grandpa was like, hey, you guys need to come here. So we came, and we started building from there. And even at the young age that I was, there was still a lot that I can recall and remember, and I'll obviously do the best that I can to reminisce from those days.
Do you remember carrying a big brown envelope too when you? Because I came in the same month and year as you. And where did you land? San Francisco, or
we
landed
landed
port of entry?
Yeah, that was SF was our port of entry.
Okay.
And then we kind of came over. We first lived in Stead.
Oh, okay. Went straight here then, Reno.
Went straight here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Single bedroom apartment. It was 3, like I said, my brothers and I, 3 of us, my parents, in a 1 single bedroom apartment instead. We lived there for several years before we actually figured out how to buy our own home.
Nice.
And just grew up from there. So it was a journey that we can remember and recall. And but I definitely remember those days of sharing a living room with my parents.
Yeah.
Eating off the same plate. So we went through our battles, we went through our struggles, our trials, and our tribulations, like anybody else. Immigrating from another country.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's been a cool journey to really look back on.
Yeah, it makes you proud that you went through that.
I absolutely. I think it builds character. I think that everybody has a story to tell, you
Yeah.
know, and everybody goes through some sort of struggle, you know, and it's unique to myself to be able to remember those things. I cherish those memories, even though, you know, from the outside looking in, people would say like, wow, that must have been hard. But for me, it's like, yeah, it was hard, but it was needed.
That was life for you,
That was
right?
life.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Nice.
made a lot of appreciation from what we didn't have to what we have today. And I think that was so much more needed to happen so we could obviously, you know, reflect on what we have today that we didn't have that back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, man, you did really well from there, huh? That's good. That's a good way to see it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's obviously a lot of hard work and a lot of grind, a lot of time, a lot of sweat and tears from my parents, especially. And but it like I said, it takes all those things. It takes a little bit of luck. I'm not saying that we just got here with a snap of our fingers.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to really sit in this chair and actually even think about, because you know, there's days where you don't think about those things.
Correct,
you know,
correct,
life is just
right.
moving and grinding, and it's just rolling on like a roller coaster. And
Right.
you know, sometimes we forget to look back on like, wow.
Yeah. And there's a surge of emotions there, right? When you kind of reflect back. Because when I did my solo episode, my very first one, man, I was like crying at times because it was like certain memories that you kind of push down. Sometimes it's a bad one. Good ones kind of make you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we suppress a lot of those emotions because, again, life has to go on, right?
Correct.
And sometimes we numb ourselves to those negative thoughts. But again, those are the ones that build the most amount of character.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree. I mean, shoot, well, we can go to an analogy, bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, man.
Well, how about this, Anish? What were your first impressions of America, and what shocked you the most?
You know, what shocked me the most was how much, you know, like consumerism there is. You know, I would go to school with, you know, so little, and there was days where I would see like kids that, you know, like being in an Indian family, like a traditional Indian family, like I didn't know what Christmas was. Right?
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
know what, you know, all these Thanksgiving was, right? Like, so when I'd come in, I'd be like, you know, a little kid, 10 years old, 8 years old, and I'm seeing all these things about, you know, how America and how the culture was. I think that was the biggest shock for me, was like, man, there's a lot of stuff, you know, to be had and all that. And for us, like, it was always about saving every single penny
Good.
to
That's good.
the last dime that you can even think of.
Are you still like that? Did you carry that on?
You know, yes, I am a little bit. I mean, now obviously, you know, having a family and having a daughter, you know, like there's certain things that I obviously want to be able to do now that I couldn't then, right?
Yeah.
And but I definitely am a big saver. I think that's one of the biggest traits that my parents definitely.
I think that's a positive, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's good. Sometimes it kind of haunts you because you miss out on life and you start stressing about every single penny, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of miss out on those present moments. But it's a good habit to have. I think so.
Yeah. I think so. I think there's a reason why there was a survey that I saw where American Indians are the number one, like, high earners in the country. It's Indians, and then the Philippines. I think we made number 7 or something. Filipinos.
That's not bad, dude.
Yeah, that's not bad. It was in the top
10, man.
Yeah. I don't know how many, but we were in top 7, I think. I don't know. But how did you adjust to the culture? Because you said you moved here when you were 5. So maybe you weren't really, maybe there was, but being a young immigrant, how did you adjust to the culture? Seeing your American friends, like what you said, they have things or
Yeah, for a while it was just like trying to figure out the language, right?
okay, oh, yeah,
And understanding the lingo and the verbiage that most kids are using at that time, and for me personally, it was just like a lot of observation, a lot of listening, and a lot of understanding of like how does America work, right?
yeah,
It's a country where yes, all your dreams can come true if you truly pursue it.
yeah,
And that was the biggest takeaway for me, is like how much you have to put in to, receive or have the results that you're wanting to look at. And, being at that young age, there was obviously for me, it was just trying to navigate through school, navigate through making sure that I had the supplies that I needed to get to that next step, to the next grade.
yeah,
That was the biggest thing for me. I was on, food programs at a young age. Like I said, we didn't have much.
yeah,
So navigating to make sure that we had food on the table, navigating to make sure I had a lunch to eat that day,
yeah,
making sure that we had the, clean clothes for the next week.
yeah,
Those things were like one of the things that, I don't think I was thinking about at that time when it was happening, because of course my parents are doing whatever they can at that time. But
yeah,
when you look at it now, it's like, wow, there was a lot of limited resources that, for some people they might have already had,
Were they running a business already, Anish, or were they working at?
No. So when my parents first started working, they worked at casinos.
Casinos, okay,
As like cashiers, at like a Sands Regency.
okay, yeah, I
Back out
remember
there,
Salcedo.
the back in the day.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And then my dad started working for like a machining company called R.R. Donnelly.
oh dude, I got a good friend of mine who worked there, yeah.
Yeah, so he worked there for a while, and then off split hours between both of them. So for a while, my upbringing from 5 years old to till I can even remember, like either my dad was working graveyard, my mom was working swing, or my mom was working graveyard and my dad was working swing. So it was just my brothers and I. I definitely see my eldest brother being like that person that kind of he was the guardian for me. For so many years, because it was, like I said, it was just my brothers and I at a young age, just
Because both your parents were always working.
They were always working.
Yeah.
That's what I knew. That's what I, that's what I was, that's what I could recall, was they were always at work. We were always at home.
Yeah.
Either doing homework or making top ramen.
Yeah. For me, dude, that was like, glad you brought that up, because that reminded me of in the Philippines, when it's time to eat, it's everybody's there at the dining table.
Yeah.
Or lunch, for lunch and breakfast or dinner. My mom and my siblings and I. But when we got here, when we moved here, it's either just me by myself or with my siblings, or sometimes here and there when my dad is off,
Yeah.
and you work 2 jobs. So yeah, that's I forgot about that. You reminded me too that they're always working, so there's that big change of their absence somehow, right? Physical absence.
Well, absolutely. When I got with my wife's family, like when I got into that, side of things, of like sitting at the table, eating dinner together, like that was new to me. Like my parents and I never ate at the same table. It was always just off split times,
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever my dad ate, he was eating, whenever he had time to eat, we ate at our own times. It was never like, all right, let's all eat as a family
Together. Oh yeah, yeah.
So that was, again, like you would see those things in movies, and you'd see those things and like, again, like the holiday times, and I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know what I was missing because I never experienced it in the first place.
Correct. It really doesn't hurt too if you don't know about it, right? I don't know what. I only learned Thanksgiving here too because we didn't have Thanksgiving in the Philippines. I think it's like a American holiday, right?
Absolutely.
So what? How about this one, Anish? Were there moments where you felt like you didn't belong here in America?
Yeah, I mean, at times, like when, I remember when 9/11 happened. There was a time where, I can remember I was at school. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of anguish. There was a lot of, situations. And there was a lot of misunderstanding of, what just happened, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But there was also a lot of eyes, a lot of stares and a lot of, again, you can call it ignorance, or you can call it as a misunderstanding, or you can call it as whatever you want. But there were certain situations where I was like, whoa, like I'm on this side and everybody else is on that side. It definitely felt a little bit of separation.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when learning the language, when I had an accent, I was in ESL,
Yeah.
I would have to be pulled from the class because I had a separate ESL session.
Correct.
And I'm like, there's 6 of us in this tiny little room trying to learn, the English language.
Right.
But I'm like, wait, why isn't everybody else coming?
Yeah. I know, huh? That's the immigrant class,
It's the immigrant class, man.
Yeah.
But again, it built character. It built an understanding of, my story is a little bit different than everybody else's, or not everybody else's, but from the people that I've already were born and raised here, that weren't immigrants.
But dude, you don't have any accent anymore.
Not anymore, man.
Yeah, American accent, bro.
Yeah, not anymore, man. I mean, back in the day, I had a little bit of an accent, learning the language. But I guess that's when you move here at such a young age, then you kind of defeat that.
Do you still speak your native tongue?
I do. Yeah, I still speak Hindi with my parents. I speak Punjabi with some of my friends.
Dude, so you're trilingual.
I'm trilingual.
Hey,
I almost had Spanish down for a little bit, but I didn't pursue it long enough.
You probably would get it quick too, because the brain was trained to kind of make those translations quick. And that's what I heard. You could be a spy, bro.
I could be. This could all be
4 more languages, and you could be good.
Yeah, I was trying to be quadlingual, but
yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, that's cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. I know sometimes looking back, we don't want to be, especially with that question. Most people don't want to address it because it's like somehow victim mentality somehow,
Absolutely.
right? And we kind of want to forget about the whole thing, right? And I'm not race baiting or anything. I'm just trying to really give a good picture for, the people that are listening that never really experienced it,
Absolutely.
Because it's our story, minorities go through that. ESL, they don't even know what that is, right? We do. What role did your Indian heritage play in shaping your identity here today?
I think it goes back to the traits of who I am today, like being a big saver, right? Being a big entrepreneur, like having a business-like mindset. I think that's kind of ingrained in some of our cultures of understanding like family is everything for us. And when it comes to that, sadly, sometimes it becomes too consuming. Where you're all you're doing it for is your kids, right? Or all you're doing for is for that next generation.
Yeah.
I look back at my parents, they're turning, my dad just turned 67.
Still young.
Yeah. My mom is 64, about to be 65. And, and I just kind of look at their life and I'm like, man, all you guys did was work. Yeah. All you guys did was grind. And it was like, now if you were to pull my parents and be like, all right, let's go up to Tahoe, man. Let's go to this. Like, it's so, they're more like, what's the point? You know, why don't we just stay at home? Or I got to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, they are probably, unless they go to India, right? Because like now when they go to India, when they go back to their country, now it's like, okay, now I know how to have fun. Now I know how to relax. Now I know how to enjoy myself, right? Because in India, you could do so much with so little.
Yeah.
And it's insane. But they're probably the worst vacationers because they don't know how to relax. Because all they know is
Work.
I gotta go. I gotta work. I gotta clock in. I gotta, you know.
Yeah.
And even when I, you know, if I go over to visit, you know, my parents, 90% of the conversations is about work. It's like, man, I just came here to bring my daughter over, you know, so that way she can see her grandparents. But, you know, they just want to talk about the store or the gas station or, you know, how I'm doing, about, you know, finances and like, what's the next step? And it's like, man.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's just ingrained. I think that, you know, for them, they just want to make sure that their kids are, you know, leading a good life and they're heading in the right direction, because tomorrow is never promised for them. And for them, it's like, if, you know, if you could if you can put in your dues now, and if you could put in everything that you can now, you know, then you can relax later. But there's a give and take to that, right? At what cost? And I think for them, I think the reason that is because of the struggles that we had at a younger age. I mean, we went from a single bedroom apartment with 5 people to a home. And even then we didn't have enough bedrooms for all of us. There was times where I was sleeping in the living room, you know?
Yeah.
I was okay with that.
Correct.
I could fall asleep on a couch better than probably on a bed because of that. And, you know, from there, now we all have our own homes. My brother has their, you know, both my brothers have their own home. They have their own families. I have my own home. I have my own family. And I think from there, it's like, because of we didn't have those things automatically right away, is why, you know, everything is like a stepping stone for them.
Correct.
What's the next thing?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable.
That's what they're trying to tell you. Like, hey, you can't be relaxed. You gotta grind all the time.
You gotta grind all the time, you know. And I gotta, obviously, I'm to the point now where I'm like, I'm understanding, like, hey, like, work will always be there. You know, America is one of those places, like I said, you know, if you put in your dues, you can accomplish anything you want.
Right.
But it's okay to take breaks too, right?
Yes. Yes.
I guess that's where the analogy of bodybuilding comes in, right?
There you go. Bring it, man. Bring it.
If you don't recover, if you don't rest, then you don't grow. Right?
Correct.
If you're just in the gym 7 days a week.
And that's not healthy, right?
And that's
You're
not
telling me,
healthy.
Yeah. Anish, in 2019, I contacted him and I hired him to be my trainer for a short period of time because I got hurt. My foot got hurt, and then 2020 happened.
Yeah,
that's when
COVID
we kind of
year, everything shut down.
It was the tail end of 2019 when we kind of connected, right? And 2020 occurred. Gyms were closed.
We were doing more of the online coaching thing, you know.
Yeah.
I was having you check in.
Right, yeah.
Change your eating habits.
What did you eat today? He sent me a menu, what to eat. Chicken breast and egg whites.
Chicken breast, egg whites.
Broccoli
rice.
and rice.
Yep.
And he let me have a treat. You know what the treat was, Mikey? Rice Krispies.
It was a great
It
pre-workout.
was good. It was pretty good. It was actually pretty good. Sorry to take you away from the video, but real quick, if you have been enjoying the show, if something made you laugh, think, or say, man, that's real talk, like, follow, and subscribe to A Minorities Report. And don't just keep it to yourself. Leave a review and drop a comment. Let me know what hit home for you and what you want more of. Or just say hi. I promise I try to read every comment. Your support helps more people find these stories and keeps the conversations going. So go ahead, hit that follow button, leave a comment, and keep writing with us. More people with real stories and conversations that matter. Now let's get back to the video. So before you were a bodybuilding coach, you got into the DJ business. You want to talk about that? Let's talk about that a little bit. How did you get into that? That's how I first
going
met
down
him.
with memory lane.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so I think it was, right out of high school. We were, my friend Kevin and I, Kevin Wowo.
Yeah.
He was, I think he started being a promoter at that time, and we were always going to Amplified's events and the 18 and up clubs back in the day.
Yeah.
This is when 18 and up clubs even existed, because they were a thing, actually.
Correct.
Surprisingly.
We had Ken here before.
Yeah, I think I saw that. So, we were going to those events, and, I can't recall like how I got into, being a promoter and all that, but, there was an event that I went with Ken. I think it was at an auto like dealership show, like in Gilroy, or I can't remember what the dealership was. And
Gilson?
I think it was Gilson. Yeah. Gilson.
Yeah, we had Gilbert here too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
dude,
man.
I'm tying it in. There you go.
Yeah.
Tying it. Was it when he was fundraising?
Yeah,
I
think it
there
was
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Go ahead.
But anyways, yeah, I was there with Ken, and I don't know who else was there, but I was watching like Ken do his thing, and I'm like, I could do that. Like, and I think he saw the interest in my eyes too. He's like, "You want to try it?" And I was like, "No, I'll just sit here and watch." But and then Jazzy Gems, Aaron Schulman, one of the main DJs for Amplified at the time. Him and I became pretty close too, and he was showing me some things. And then it just kind of translated into like learning how to DJ,
Yeah.
And I was going over to Ken's house like constantly just to set up and tear down. He would just make me set up and tear down, rewire it all. Like he wouldn't even let me play yet, and just kind of understand the mechanics of that. And
Nice.
I would go home and I would listen to songs, and I'd be like, there would be this little app, and I'd be like, all right, how many beats per minute is this thing, right? So you would just tap on the screen, and you would kind of listen to the song, obviously bob your head and develop a rhythm, and learning how to count that rhythm. And from there, obviously I got to be on stage and learn the ropes of how to be a mobile DJ in Reno, Nevada.
How long did you do that for?
I think it was 2009 until 2014 is when I stopped.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Why'd you stop?
Well, I got to a point where, DJing for me wasn't fun anymore. And that was the reason that I wanted to become a DJ in the first place, because it was fun.
It wasn't work.
It wasn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What do they say? Like, if you enjoy what you do, and it'll feel like a work in your day in your life. Right.
Right.
So for me, it was fun. It was enjoyable. It was something that I was passionate about. I was up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, just digging in crates, trying to find more songs, and
Really?
and trying to be that latest and greatest. And by the time 2014 hit, I was in the worst shape of my life. I think it was 263 pounds.
Okay.
I remember my blood work was horrible. DJing became not just like a weekend thing, but for a while it was like a weekend, and then sometimes you had Sundays, sometimes you had Mondays, and it was like these long nights. You're getting home at 3, 4, sometimes the sun is coming up.
Ooh, yeah.
There was nights where I would get off and I'm sitting at a Denny's because I'm starving and I'm going home, and it just became such an unhealthy thing for me.
Yeah, yeah.
The biggest thing though from DJing is like I learned how to be a businessman.
Okay.
Because now I'm understanding that like DJing is also a business, you know. You're getting paid for these events, you're doing a job, you're doing a professional job, and for me, you know, the money wasn't everything, but it became a factor where I'm like, okay, I gotta pay off this equipment, I gotta pay off these records, I gotta make sure that I take care of myself. And you know, it honestly started the whole, I personally believe the whole entrepreneurship side of me, you know.
Really? Okay, good.
Because, you know, at the time, you know, I was obviously DJing for Amplified, which was, it was a blessing because I learned so much of what it means to run a business, you know. And sometimes when you're being a DJ, you know, you're kind of like what influencers are today. You're selling yourself, right? You're trying to be versatile. You're trying to be different from everything. And you're trying to, you know, sell a product, which is you.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And learning the ropes off of that and doing it on my own. You know, there was a time where I left Amplified and I started, you know, trying to figure out my own gigs and trying to book my own events and doing, you know, certain weddings or word of mouth events. I was DJing at Babinga's, which is what Novi is today. And
okay, what is it now?
Novi.
Okay, I remember Babinga. That's it.
Yeah, man, Babinga's, and you know, like there was obviously a lot of other clubs at that time before they all shut down during COVID. But
yeah,
you know, then again, that at that point, I didn't have, you know, anybody like guide me to events or like, oh, this event's booked, just go and get it done. Like there was a point where I was like, okay, I have to figure this out myself if this is something that I want to do and pursue and be good at. And for a while it was great, but again, it became less fun and more work.
More work, yeah.
And that's where I was like, this isn't healthy. Mm-hmm. You know, I lost the passion of why I started in the first place, which was music, man. It was digging through those crates. It was finding that next hit song and rocking a crowd or reading a crowd and making those transitions. At a certain point that was lost, and it became a little bit more focused on, you know, my education and my health.
Okay, bring us there, man. Bring us there. What? So is that what got you into fitness and bodybuilding? Because you realized like, shoot, I'm in bad shape. I need to.
No, actually, it wasn't even just that. It was I was a pre-law student at UNR. Okay. So the plan was.
I didn't know that, man.
I know. Yeah.
Let's go, man. That's heavy. All right.
So the plan was to go to law school. So I was a pre-law student at UNR, and I was going to obviously getting my bachelor's in pre-law criminal justice. And the plan was to take my LSATs. I was in Kaplan programs, making sure that I'm heading into that direction. And the relationship that I was in at that time, again, I was in the worst shape of my life. You know, I was pretty unhappy. And there was a company that came into town. It's called Results Transformation Center. It still exists to this day, actually.
Okay.
And somehow they were a new company. They were based out of Sacramento, and they came into town, and they had these email blasts and promotions. You know, lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks for free or something like that. Really? And I'm like, well, you know, I'm in senior year of college. You know, why not? So my girlfriend at the time told me about it. You know, I went to this orientation, and and I sat down, and the concept is you pay $500 of your hard-earned money. If you lose 20 pounds, they give it right back to you. So there was a catch to it, right? There was a fine print. And so I said, you know what, I could do that. I can lose 20 pounds, man. And, so I went through the challenge. And if you were to ever talk to those coaches that coached me, they would tell you that who I was then is not who I am now, because I was such a, again, DJing kind of consumed so much out of me that I was such a negative person at that time. And I was like, for the first 2 weeks, I think I lost maybe 3 pounds. And I'm like, you guys are just, this is a ripoff. And you guys just took my money and all that stuff. Because it was the very first challenge that was ever done here in Reno Sparks. It was the first time. This company, again, was based out of Sacramento. They had gyms over there. They've done challenges over there, but you didn't have Google reviews and things like that back then. You probably did, but I don't think it was expansive enough to know and be like, okay, is this legit or is this not, right?
Yeah.
And I did end up losing the 20 pounds. I ended up losing a little bit more than the 20 pounds. And I was still in college. I was getting ready to graduate. I'd finished the challenge, and then they asked, hey, we can give you your $500 back, or, we would love for you to do another challenge, lose another 20 pounds, or if you don't want to do that, you can roll it into a membership. And I said, you know what, 20 pounds, that was pretty good. Let's just roll it into a membership and all that. And as I was finishing my degree, I was trying to think of ways to have community outreach, because that is something that they look at when you're applying to law schools, is how do you help community?
Oh, you wanted it in your resume.
I wanted it in my resume. And I was like, what can I do? I was working at a injury law firm at the time, Galloway and Jensen.
Okay. Yeah, it rings a bell.
I hated it because, it was just a lot of paper pushing and all that. And it wasn't like what I was kind of enjoying when it came to the law. And so there was a volunteering position that opened up at Results. And I'm like, well, this would be good community outreach. Maybe I could volunteer here and help other people lose weight. It'd be a little bit different. So I became a volunteer at Results and just putting in free hours for them. Really? Just trying to it didn't matter to me. I was mopping the floors. I was, helping with drills or warm-ups and stuff like that. And when it came time to, take the LSATs and apply for law school, my mind kind of shifted into do I even want to go to law school?
Yeah.
Because at that time, and I'm sure it's still the same, that there were so many more attorneys than there were clients. It was such a congested field. It was do I want to become that DJ again? Because there were so many DJs at that time, right? So I decided not to go to law school. And
what'd your parents say?
Oh, man. There's only been 2 times where I've kind of, I think, disappointed my parents. One was not going to law school after, spending all that money on, getting here.
You were 4 years in, right? Oh, okay.
4 years in. And the second time I'll obviously tell you later on.
Yeah.
But that was one of the first times where I think that was a big shocker for them, because that's what I had always told them. I was like, yeah, I want to go to law school. But deep down inside, I figured out that again, I wasn't really doing that for me. I was actually doing it for my dad. I know
I see.
My dad did not want me to, do anything but go to law school, because guess what? Lawyers make great money.
Correct.
Right? Going back to that concept of what's the next step? What's the next
Be
level?
secured.
Be secure.
Yeah,
Have a
yeah.
confident job. It's either you're going to become a doctor or become a lawyer, right?
It's the Asian thing, man.
It is the Asian thing, right?
It's the same with Filipinos.
Yeah. And, you know, at the time I was like, I don't think it's the best decision for me because, again, I'm going to put in all this work. I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to come out with 6-figure debt. But I'm hearing horror stories of attorneys taking the bar and not having a job.
Ooh.
You know, and that's just something that I didn't want to, you know, commit myself to. And deep down inside, it was like, this isn't what I want to do. You know, deep down, I was like, no, I think that there's something else out there for me. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So after becoming a volunteer at that gym, you know, they were looking for an assistant coach.
Okay.
So I said, I'll take it. Let's go. Here's my hours. I'm done with volunteering.
Oh, wow.
So I became an assistant coach, just helping out with classes and things like that. Long story short, you know, became an assistant coach, then went from a head coach. And then in the middle of that, I actually ended up leaving the gym because I was doing so much for them that I asked for a raise. They didn't give me the raise, and I said, here's my 2 weeks.
Good. You know your value.
Yeah.
Right?
What
Good,
had
good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that was hard for me because I'm like, what am I doing? Like this, like my life at one point, I was like, which direction am I going right now? And so they ended up one of the owners of the gym actually ended up calling me out of nowhere. And he's like, you should have never left. And you should have. And I was like, well, I sat down with you guys and I presented you my resume.
Yeah.
And I told you that I feel like I'm worth this much, and you guys felt differently. And he's like, you know what? I think you should come back. I'm not going to promise anything. I'm not going to say anything, but I think you should apply. And I'm like, all right. And so I went back, I applied, and I think 3 months later, they promoted me to be a director, basically run my own gym. I ended up running my own gym for a while and just kind of grew from there.
Nice. Good. I love that, bro. That's good. Hey, how long did it take you to lose your 20 pounds?
6 weeks. The first 20 pounds?
6 weeks?
Yeah.
So 6 weeks. You got 6 weeks.
I think I lost 24 at the end of it.
And then you said something that caught my attention there. You said being in the DJ business, you became negative. So as a coach, do you believe, or is it really in your guys' notes there that the mindset must be corrected too, to kind of get back in shape, for somebody to get back in shape or to get in shape?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that people have to accept when they're trying to hit a goal, right? Like for most people, it's like, I just want to lose weight, right? I just want to look good.
Yeah.
But those aren't really the correct reasons of why a person should lose weight, right? Like that could be one of the reasons, right? But
Yeah.
deep down inside, there's always something deeper than just trying to look better, right? And having a right mindset of you know, you're not trying to lose the weight just because there can be a different number on the scale, right? You're not going to go to Lake Tahoe, take off your shirt, and people are going to ask you, hey, how much do you weigh, bro? Like, no, they're going to look at you and be like, dang, Joe, like you look good, man. You look happy. You look great. What are you doing? Right.
Right.
And those are the changes that people should pursue is more on the inside, because once you start working on what's on the inside, right? The stress, the negativity, the barriers of why you were out of shape in the first reason. Once you actually accept what those things are, then everything else falls into place.
Yeah, I agree. When I started getting back in shape, it's because I was going through depression, you know, and it's kind of hitting me hard, just random days that I would just be like, there's nothing wrong with my life, but then all of a sudden I'm just like, why am I sad?
Yeah.
And then my lower back started hurting, I'm just like, and then my clothes are not looking good on me anymore.
Absolutely.
And just so, but yeah, when I started working out again, my mindset kind of followed. But
Absolutely.
I get what you mean is you have to pass the point of I just want to have a six pack and look good. It has to be where I want to be healthy,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah, and yeah, I like what you said there, the negative thing, but you can't get there. I guess you can't do anything properly if you have a negative mindset. You agree?
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't have the correct thoughts of what you're trying to achieve, and you have to really think about, like, if you were to, if you're sitting at home and you're trying to figure out, like, hey, how do I get in shape? Like, first of all, close your eyes and imagine what the perfect version of you looks like. Then start thinking, well, what is that best version of you feels like?
Like that.
Right. And then start getting deeper into, like, okay, what if I have that best version, like, what does that best version of me think? Like, how do I go about the way I feel about working out, the way I feel about eating right, or eating the way that I should for my body, not because I should, because I'm trying to be healthy. And I think that's what differentiates from, bodybuilding and what I like to pursue, and what I like to, what I'm passionate about when it comes to my clients is lifestyle, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yeah, I like that.
People don't run marathons and think, oh crap, I'm only on mile 4. Like, how in the world am I going to get to the finish line? Right? No, they get to mile 4 and then they think, all right, I just got to get to mile 5. Once I get to mile 5, all right, let me get to 6. Let me get to 7, so on and so forth, right? And it's the long game. It's you're putting on years on your life by making the changes now. And if it's the baby steps that has to come first before anything else.
Yeah.
The analogy of you got to learn to crawl before you walk.
I agree. Yeah.
You didn't become out of shape overnight. Why in the world would you expect to become back into shape overnight? You didn't get out of shape overnight either, right? So why stress on the little things?
Do you see that as the biggest pitfall of people that are out of shape and they're trying to get in shape and they just get frustrated right away, like 2 weeks in?
Oh, absolutely. We are.
This is not working.
We are big instant gratification creatures. Like, we want instant gratification.
Yeah.
I mean, I own a gas station / convenience store. People love convenience, right? They want that fast. Like, I want results now.
Right.
But again, going back to it, like, hey, I'm sorry, but it took you a long time to get out of shape, right? Like, you didn't just wake up and say, oh man, I'm out of shape, I'm obese, right? It didn't take you, 24
Overnight.
hours.
Yeah, that was an overnight thing.
So why in the world would you expect everything to go in reverse?
So it's the lifestyle, right? And then with that lifestyle, there's the mindset, bad habits.
Absolutely.
Bad habits that you need to unlearn.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things that you have to be forgiving to yourself.
Huh? Okay.
Because we get so consumed with, all the mistakes that we make, like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that, or oh, I shouldn't have been a DJ, right? Or I shouldn't have been out drinking 3 a.m. every single night, because, people, they want to buy the DJ shots and shots and shots and shots,
Well, for the audio, what's your DJ name, man?
So it was DJ Boom.
Boom. DJ Boom.
Yeah.
When I met you at the league, was that your name? Because
Yeah.
I had DJs when I was running the basketball league. That's where I met him too, and he was playing there. Were you DJ Boom then?
I was DJ Boom then. Yeah. Yeah.
But when you had your own DJ business, yeah, different name.
No, I kept it. I kept it because I was just like, all right, I built this for years. If I could go back and change it, I would. I honestly would.
What would it be?
What would it be? I have no idea what would it be, but it wouldn't be that. Because
why? It was pretty cool.
It was cool, but it wasn't. It was assigned to me for I think the wrong reasons. Right? It was more of a joke to more of a. It was funny, and then it was more of like, oh, that sounds cool, but it wasn't meaningful to me.
I see what you mean. You're
Right?
deeper now. You're a deeper person now. That's why.
I guess if we want to call it that, like if like there's no story behind it, right? And like even when we're talking right now about all these topics, there's a story behind it. But when you come to my name, it's not there's no story, man. There's no meaning. There's no passion.
It was just like whatever. Yeah, that
It's
one.
like, oh yeah, that
funny.
sounds yeah. Let's do that. Let's roll with that. Like, oh yeah, boom, it's funny.
Man. I like it. No, but you were sharing something really heavy there. The mindset. To be successful in anything, including getting back in shape, you have to be realistic with your expectations. And as you're putting it, a lot of people just I want my six pack now.
Yeah.
6-pack in 6 weeks, guaranteed, or your money back type of thing.
Absolutely. And I hated that. I hated it. I mean, I think that's why I was so negative in the first place about it. I kind of beat the challenge, right? But even that style of how they trained for that challenge and how we ate for that challenge, I would never do that for my clients today. Not that I have anything against what I had to do to get to that 20 pounds, but then again, it became that sprint, not that marathon.
I agree. Good. Yeah, man, get more into that. Like, so you got into the fitness and bodybuilding because there was a promo. They caught your attention. And then you shifted from your hobby. Your hobby became a business, a job, and you hated it. But then as you were trying to get in shape, that became your, wait a minute, maybe I can do this. As you were getting out of the pre-law, the dream of your dad's dream for you.
Yeah.
And then, so when did the life as Anish come about? And then when you became a coach with that company, but then talk about that.
So after not after, but like right before I left Results, my mom was telling me like, hey, your dad wants to retire. Like, hey, he wants to slow down on work. And at that time, he's owning, 2 gas stations. He's helping my brother own, take over his in Seattle, Washington. So my dad and I, we have an interesting relationship. We don't always see eye to eye. The way he does business is a little bit different than the way that I do business. He's very old school.
Yeah.
I'm a little old school and new school.
Okay.
Right? And so
you're the better version. Let's just say it.
I don't know. I don't think he would agree with that. But so that
you're the hybrid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was, again, a director for the gym. And that's when I understood the concept of being a salaried employee. Is because, again, it was becoming so like I was doing orientations, I was doing kickoffs, which were these big events for like new challengers coming in. I was, and it became such a big thing on sales, and I was like, okay. And I was great at it. It was such a big thing for me that I'm like, wow, I can sell something if I really wanted to. I could improve that tremendously, like twofolds any day of the week. And when I was doing that for the gym, I remember I was creating numbers or hitting numbers that they haven't seen ever before.
Nice.
We would get on these calls with all the directors from every single gym, and the owner would be like, "Is Anish on the phone?" And he would have me tell everybody,
How you doing it?
"How are you doing
Yeah,
it?"
yeah,
And oh
yeah.
my God. And it was just like, oh, this is awkward, because now I'm getting called out for this, because for me, it was just like, I was selling memberships, I was selling challenges, I was selling fitness, right? I was selling health. And for me, that felt great. And I was like, all right, this is something that I could do. But when it came to being that director, again, it just became so didn't matter if I was working 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. That's what it was. It was, I had a base salary, and then I had everything else was all commission based upon
How
my
many
sales.
memberships?
How
Okay,
many
yeah.
memberships, and how many members I had in the gym, how many kickoffs I did. And it became wow, I'm making, this company a lot of money, and, I would look at my commissions, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's decent, but I feel like I could take my talents to my own business, right?
Dude, I like how you see your value, Dude, continue.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so-
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just I'm scratching a lot of backs except my own right now. And so I felt like, okay, you know what? My dad wants to retire. Maybe, I can go into that side of things and transition out of, being this director for this gym. I could take whatever experiences that I have right now in sales, and I can go apply it with my own company. And at that time, my dad and I, we went back and forth a lot of times, where he was going to sell to me and I was going to buy it, and, buy this gas station that I've always had kind of my eye on. I've always felt passionate about. And I was like, man, this is a cool station. I think I could run it better than you can. And
I like it.
so eventually, we came up with a deal where I would lease the store, I would run it, I would pay my dad a rent and a lease, and
Good.
in a 10-year span, I have the option to purchase it. First and foremost, the deal was not pretty, because again, my dad and I
Bumping heads all the
bumped
time.
heads
Right?
all the time.
All right.
He wanted to, he didn't think that I could, I guess, run it the way that he would want it. And my thing was that's okay, because it's still going to run well. I promise you that. And I think he sees that now. I think he sees that from my numbers.
Good.
I purposely send him my numbers. Actually, I don't send it. It emails him my numbers every single night, just to kind of prove to him.
Good.
There was a time where my dad and I was working for him. He fired me. I've been fired from my dad 3 times. Okay. And the words are always the same. You're never going to be a good business person. You're never going to know how to run a business. Right. And so when I would run back to the gym, it would take me back and obviously promote myself into a different position. Even when I was a director, my dad and I were talking at the time, and I would have to report my numbers on this app called Slack, and I would screenshot those numbers, and I would purposely text my dad and be like, here you go.
You see this? You see
this? But, it sounds bad, but for me, it was just always about, all of this knowing my value was always just I felt like I always had to prove myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And whether it was with family, or whether it was with friends, or whether it was peers, whether it was with bosses or people that I worked for, it was always I constantly always had to prove to them hey,
Yeah.
I'm just scratching the surface of what I'm trying to do here.
Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, bro. I think it's a very good trait of yours. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it gets misunderstood, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't understand that ambition, right? And I've understood, there's certain people that get that, and then there's certain people that don't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It sounds kind of funny, but there are people that, they do good at working, and having jobs and, you know, having a comfortable salary. And then there's people that are just like, no,
there's more to this.
More.
Yeah.
You know,
there's more to this.
You know, and I got to a point where I'm like, I'm done with responding to people, because I wanted to, you know, I had a vision in my head of like what I could do, you know, and kind of going back to that DJ side of like, if I could leave, you know, a reputable company like Amplified and still do okay, like imagine what I could do with, you know, whatever else that I could do else in my life.
Right.
If I could lose 20 pounds in 6 weeks and beat this challenge, what else could I do?
Correct. That's good. So is that when it hit? Or you said it was in the DJ when it kind of clicked in, like, hey, maybe I can run a business. Huh?
I think DJing laid the foundation of how to, you know, sell myself. Running a gym helped me learn the business side.
Okay.
Of having your own employees and running other personalities and managing them and having groups of different people and understanding like, okay, like there's a lot of ins and outs of running a business.
Yeah.
Whether it's a brick or mortar or whether it's a you know, you being a DJ, you know, like there's certain ins and outs of that. And so when I got comfortable with what I was doing at the gas station and running my own business and creating my own corporation is when I said, all right, you know, I got some free time on my hands. Let's get back into coaching. And that's where life as a niche created.
All right. So what do you offer there? And then who do you serve?
So there's a reason why I call it LYFE.
Yeah, I saw LYFE.
Because it was something silly, but it kind of resonated to me, right? Because I always like to have meaning. So life as a niche was always life by a niche. So it was live your fullest every day.
Oh, I see it. Nice. Clever.
And so for me, it was like the clients that I wanted to train, I was very nitpicky. I'm still nitpicky. I don't just say, oh, you want a program? Here, come to me. Here's a contract. Here's the charge. Here it is. You know, the clients that I like to train are truly the ones that are doing it again for the right reasons. Right? Are the ones that deep down inside they want to have a different lifestyle than they currently have, with the understanding of how did you get there in the first place. And those are the clients that I enjoy, because those are the ones that show up for themselves.
Right.
Obviously, again, in this world, in America, we love our hard-earned money, right? There was times where I was coaching for free, or like, oh, just pay me, you know, $20 or, you know, $50 and I'll send you a meal plan. And then what I started to notice was like the people that I just kept, you know, discounting or just saying like, okay, I just want to, you know, help you. They would never stay accountable.
No.
So one of the things that I took away from my, 6-week challenge was like, why did that work? Well, $500 is a lot of money, right?
It is.
$500 back in 2014 is
a lot more
money, right?
Yeah.
Why did it work? Well, it was because it was a behavior modification. Because you and any of us in this world would be pissed off if you lost $500, right?
Yeah. Especially if you can help it.
Especially if you can help it.
Yeah.
Not that I charge $500, by the way. I'm not that good yet. But what it meant to me was like I had to make sure that people stayed accountable for themselves, you know. So understanding like, okay, like what's your value to yourself and what's my value as a coach, and that's where it became more of like, okay, I want to train people that want to change their life, not just for, oh, I got a wedding coming up and I just want to get in shape for that, or
summer's coming up.
coming up. And those are the clients that are truly going to be the ones that you want to let go sooner than later, because they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand that, like, Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yeah, I like it.
It's a brick by brick thing. It's a day by day thing.
I agree.
And that's honestly what I offer is just a whole shift of who you are and how you approach food and nutrition and working out.
So there's the part of your coaching is also the mental state. It sounds like the mindset. The mindset must change because it's a lifestyle change.
Absolutely. I feel like to this day I'm a psychiatrist and a coach. Not to take away from psychiatrists in this world, right? You guys go to school and have a degree and have certifications for that field, but coaching is a lot different than personal training, right? Personal training, you're there for that hour, you're in and out. Here's the bill. I'll see you next week.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's the interaction. Coaching is like you're part of that person's life. Like you're checking in, you're making sure that they're changing their habits, because it's hard. It's hard to change habits, right?
Yeah.
Especially when something is so ingrained that, like,
I agree.
That's just what I've always done. But there's that understanding of, like, hey, if that's what you've always done, why are you expecting anything different?
That's true.
Right. So just having that understanding of, like, okay, hey, if you want what you are trying to achieve, again, just close your eyes, think about it. Imagine that person and what do you feel like that person is doing and how they approach everything that you're, having a negative mindset about.
Yeah.
And if I see that shift, then we're going to have a great end result.
So you don't offer life as Anish is not an 8 weeks thing. It's like however long it'll take. It's like a lifestyle coach.
Absolutely.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Absolutely. It's we obviously identify, because you need goals, right? You need to identify what those goals are for yourself, because going on a mission without a goal is you're just going to be running like a hamster in a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You're just going to go through the cycles.
They said, like, if you don't have a goal, it's like you're like a boat with no destination.
Exactly.
You're just going to let the wind take you wherever the wind takes you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So identifying goals is definitely one of the first things that, as a coach, I think anybody should do. And then having realistic timelines is definitely important. I'm not saying that I'm going to be a coach for, the rest of a person's life, but I am going to be realistic with that timeline. If I am going to be that 6-week, 20-pound coach, then I'm not going to do right by you. Because there was certain things that came out of that I didn't enjoy. I actually developed bad eating habits out of that because it was so black or white.
Really? Okay.
Because 20 pounds, 6 weeks, it's actually not even the healthiest, right? But it was more extreme than anything else.
Can you give me a picture? Give me an idea somehow that you can share.
Of what I looked like when I started that challenge?
Well, like the bad habits that you said that was needed for it to happen. Like the bad habit, eating habits.
Oh, man. I mean, again, it was, from the DJing style, it was late night drinking, it was steak and eggs, it was, waking up without a plan of, like, what am I going to eat or what do I have? Like, fast food to, eating at friends, like, family parties, and to buffets, to, it just, there was no recourse.
Plan.
No, there was no plan.
So for you, the meal plan, I remember when I heard you gave me a meal plan,
Yeah.
right? And you were telling me to count my macros.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because I think that understanding what food is and what it does to your body is important, because I don't want to be that coach that just tells you, all right, this is what I want you to eat. Don't ask me why. This is just what I want you to do, right?
Yeah.
Versus I wanted, I want for everybody to understand, like what it is you're eating, but why are you eating that? Like, why do we focus so much on protein, and why do we focus, on carbs, and carbs aren't the enemy, right?
Yeah.
You're not fat because you had an extra slice of bread. You're in the position because you didn't move, you didn't treat your body like the way that it is meant to be treated. But the beautiful thing is that the body is always able to change as long as you actually give it the changes that it needs.
And is it a 3 weeks thing before do you believe in that one too? Like to create a habit, you need 3 weeks of that. So do you really focus on your clients? Like, all right, we're gonna zero in on 3 weeks, and then you'll have the habit going. Or no? What's the secret sauce there?
I haven't scientifically tested that. Like, all right, let's see what happens after 21 days. But I do believe that having that touch and feel of what works for one person doesn't always work for another person, right?
Okay,
some people love chicken, but some people absolutely hate it, right? If you don't enjoy what you're eating, you're not going to do it. You're not going to stick to it. At some point, it's just going to feel like a chore, right?
Yeah.
So for me, there's no 21-day like test. It's more like every week is like, all right, let's see what's working. Are we moving in the right direction? Are we understanding? Like, are we, getting to the markers that we want to get to? Because, in the beginning you said, this is your goal. And I said, it's all right. Realistically, it'll probably take us by March of next year to reach that goal. But until March, there's certain markers that we have to hit to make sure that we're getting to that goal.
Yeah.
And if we're not, there's a reason why.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't had one client that said that they did everything 110% and didn't see the results that they wanted to see.
Because if they do, they get it. They follow everything you tell them.
They get it, or I got to be an FBI agent to figure out why. Because there's always a reason.
Yeah. What do you find as the typical reason why they don't achieve it? They just result back to the bad habit?
Not always. Sometimes it's just lack of effort. Sometimes it's, you have to eat. And some people don't, they feel like if I just eat this meal less, I'm going to see my results faster. And that's not how it always works, right? There's restoration and recovery we got to think about. And you can't restore and recover without proper nutrition. So why in the world would you think skipping meal, your last meal of the day is going to be benefiting you? Maybe in the short term, but long term, you're gonna feel like crap.
Yeah.
So typically what I find is people, sometimes if they say they did everything, I'll say, all right, let's have you send pictures of all your meals. And then, when I see them, there's always, something that they make mistakes on, honest mistakes. Obviously I'm not here to say like, everybody's just going to be dishonest with themselves, but there's confusion and there's relaxations because it's not easy, right? It's not easy to
you get invited for a party, man.
Yeah.
There's pork there. You're just like, I wasn't supposed to eat that, but okay.
Which is fine, and I've kind of adapted of how I coach now, to the point where it's like, there's a balance, right? You didn't get fat because you went to, a Christmas dinner one time out of the year.
Yeah.
You did it because you went to that party and then you took leftovers home and then you had the leftovers for 3 days. And then you're like, oh, it's the weekend. Let me go out with my friends. Oh man, I got invited to sushi and I got.
Yeah. There was a free soda there, so I just took it too.
It's those traps that get people, but it's okay. We can rebound from that too. Just got to recognize it, right?
So you're the coach. Sounds like, and I kind of remember from my memory is you really want your clients to zero in on the diet, number one. In the working out part, I remember 5 days was your recommendation. And is there like the best split, Anish? Like for a free consultation here right now for the show. What's the?
Well, I mean, like I said, I've adapted to a lot of things because the people that I train now, majority of them, they have busy jobs. Some of them are entrepreneurs. Some of them own their own businesses. Some of them, have kids, and so a lot of these high success clients, they don't have time to go to the gym 5 days out of the week. But, if you're going to go 5 days out of the week, if I'm going to choose the perfect split for you, I would not go more than 3 days without at least one rest day. And I would always take at least 2 rest days a week.
Oh, okay, good.
If I had a recommendation of how many times at least to go to the gym, if you're just starting off, go 3. Go 3, go every other day, and then give yourself the rest. And just start moving your body and helping your body understand what it is that you're trying to do. Because people got to remember, working out is technically a stressor on your body. I know people say, oh, I work out because I have a lot of stress, or I work out because working out is a stressor on your body, right? So
explain that.
We adapt to that stress. And from that stress that we put on our bodies, like, it's obviously a good stressor, right? So with that adaptability, you're obviously understanding how to recover. And from the recovery is when you see a lot of growth. You see a lot of adaptability. You see, your body make the most amount of changes. You don't lose weight in the gym. You don't go into a 60-minute workout and be like, all right, let me go on the scale. I must have lost 2 pounds from that. It's not how the body works. No, what you're doing is you're tearing fibers, you're tearing muscle, you're stressing that body out. And then when you go home and actually eat the food that we talked about, and eating all your meals and giving it the nutrition that you need, working on your sleep, working on your stress, which is, I think, more important than
The
anything
sleep,
else.
huh? How many hours to sleep?
How many hours do I sleep, or how many hours do I recommend sleeping?
Oh yeah, you recommend. You have kids now. You probably don't get 5.
What's sleep? I think if you can get a solid 7 to 8 hours, that's great. Quality, not quantity. Quality, 7 to 8 hours. So, not being on your phone, and believe me, I'm not the best at this either. If my wife watches this podcast, she'd be like,
Comment.
yeah, exactly. But, quality meaning like good, deep REM sleep, making sure that you're actually getting restful sleep and not, having your mind wander and stress, and actually waking up recovered and refreshed. I mean, that's better than if you were to tell me like, hey, either I can get 7 to 8 hours of sleep or I could work out 3 times a week. I'm gonna tell you, go get better sleep.
Really? Wow.
Because again, our bodies, sleep cycles are way more important than, again, that stress that you're going to already put on in the gym. Mm-hmm. So if your body's already stressed at night, why in the world do you think that, stressing it out in the gym is going to be anything better than that? It's going to break down. You're not going to recover.
Oh, okay.
You're just kind of leading yourself into a nightmare.
Wow. Man, hey, that's free. You guys are welcome. What's the better split? Push, pull, or do you concentrate on a certain muscle? What's your...
If a person is just starting off and they don't know what to do in the gym, just do full body. Just go in the gym and understand how to move weights. I always recommend, if you've never lifted in your entire life, hire a coach. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be me, but hire a coach, and understand and learn how to lift weights, learn how to move your body from somebody that has done it, or, lift with a buddy. I think that's always powerful too. because working out is always better than, working out by yourself.
You think so?
I think so. I think that having that social aspect be a part of that, I think that's great. That's what I kind of miss about like the group style fitness that I used to do. But, I still get that with the one-on-ones and all that.
Yeah.
But I think that if you're starting off, go in there, just learn how to move your body, learn how to adapt to the weights. You're going to have that onset soreness and understanding what that feels like the next day. I think that if you're starting off, don't worry about, oh, this is the perfect program, or, oh, I got to do chest, back, legs, or,
That's what I do.
You don't need to get too deep in that. Well, now once you start moving on and you've kind of understood, how to go into a gym and understand like what's around you and everything, then you can start specific programs of, upper lowers, chest, back, legs, chest, tries, back, buys. We can get deeper and deeper into that. But again, if you're just starting off, just get in the gym, have fun, choose a gym that you like, choose an environment that you like, stick with that.
Advantages of having a coach.
Guidance, accountability, not making, mistakes that, you don't have to repeat. Just enjoy lifting with a sense of purpose, and again, just keeping yourself safe, injury free. I mean, that's what coaches are meant to do, right? They're supposed to keep you safe,
Guide you, and
guide you, and help you understand how to move your body. I think that everybody should learn how to do those things.
You were like always telling me, add more on that one. Give me 2 more on that one. You know what? 3 more. Give me 3 more on that one. So
Well,
that's the advantage too, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because we are not only people that strive for instant gratification, but we are great self-negotiators.
I like that.
Right. So even with myself, I'm a coach and I've been doing this for so long, but like, even I find myself going to the gym, whether I'm getting my cardio done and I'm like, oh, I think 20 minutes is good. Even though I was meant to do 25, or I was told myself I'm going to do 30. I had a hard day, man. Like, I think 20 is good today, right? Like, we all fall into those traps of instant gratification and, self-negotiation, right? That's where that coach comes in and be like, guess what? Let's go.
I'll push you today.
I mean, most lifters, not all, most lifters, majority of them do not lift or train as hard as they possibly could. That's straight out facts. Most people don't train as hard as they possibly could unless they have, again, some sort of accountability that's pushing them to that. There's this concept of training to failure on certain lifts. Most people don't even know what failure truly is or haven't felt it.
Yeah.
And then until you've felt it is when you start understanding, like, no, I have more in the tank than I actually, am trying to make myself believe that I have.
Right. No, I agree, man. Because when I would go out to the gym with somebody else, they'll add more weights on my bench, and it concerns me. I'm like, man, I don't think I could do that. And then I would be able to push it. And then, so it's pretty cool. I think having a coach is at least not just having a friend who's just like telling you what to do, but a coach would be very precise, right? Precise movements, precise advice, It's not a guesswork, I suppose is what I want to say.
No, it's not guesswork.
Yeah.
And as a coach, I try to take away that guesswork, right?
Yeah.
Because I've been there, right? I guess the advantage that I feel like that I have versus some other coaches is I wasn't always I wasn't always in shape. I was obese at one point in my life. I I had,
Yeah.
I had horrible health markers. I had a blood pressure of 166 over 124 at one point.
Wow.
I've been to that state of, physically and mentally, of a person that wasn't always in shape. Mm-hmm. And I get to kind of have that advantage of speaking that language with a people that, feel like this is impossible. And
Correct.
with that, I can kind of resonate and I can speak to that and, kind of connect with them. Like, hey, believe me, I've been there.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's good. That's good. And that's what they always say, right? The best people that can help someone else in a struggle is someone who's been in that struggle. So I think that's kind of what you're saying there. It fits right perfectly for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think that resonates with, again, like business side of things. I think power of association is huge. So, like, if your goal is to be a millionaire, but you surround yourself with, people that just only want to work 9 to 5, and they're comfortable with that, which is nothing wrong with that, then you're probably not going to take away from what it takes to be a millionaire.
I agree.
Right? Some of the most successful people out there in the world, they listen more than they talk because they really want to understand what the people that they want to be, or the successes that they want to achieve, like what are they doing that you're not, right?
Right.
And I think that resonates the same way with any goal in your life. You have to identify, like, what do I have to do differently? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Yeah, I agree. And then surrounding yourself with like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Is what you're saying. It will not make it easier, because you've said it several times, like hard work. Hard work is always part of it, right? Trying to get to your goal. And so surround yourself with hardworking people with the same goal. Like if it's getting in shape, that's what you kind of surround yourselves with, right? Everybody that are going to the gym or trying to eat right. I think I agree, man. That's a good recipe.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I don't have all the recipes, but
oh man, you do. This is so you're open. So how do they get a hold of you?
Most people contacting me through either like social media, word of mouth, text messages. They can email me. I mean, if more of a direct inference, life as Anish on Instagram. Email is always great. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that there's definitely several avenues that people can reach out if they even have questions. That's the fun thing about coaching for me is it's not something that I have to live by, financially or monetarily. I truly just enjoy educating people. So
and helping people.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions on like how do you get started, or what to do, or anything, I always offer a free training session with me if you ever want to just train and learn how to lift and just move your body and all that. Just reach out.
Right. How long have you been doing that?
Training, personal training, or
the Life as Anish?
Oh, Life as Anish was something that I created just a few years ago. But
okay.
Personal training, it's been like 5 years now. I've been personal training again.
5
and coaching. So.
I reached out to you in 2019. You were already doing it online. Mm-hmm. That's how I messaged you. Like,
yeah,
dude, can you meet with me?
Absolutely,
do it with you. So it's been more than 5, I would say.
As far as like the Life as Anish goes, I mean, coaching and all that, again, it started back in 2014.
Oh, okay.
End of 2014 when I became that volunteer.
Oh, wow.
That's when the coaching started. And then, I guess been almost like 7 years. Actually.
Yeah. Good. So let's. Sorry, taking too long here. Are you still good?
Yeah.
How about the gas station? So you owned it. You bought it from your dad, the Sierra Arco, and so it was because your dad wanted to sell to you, and you said, "Oh, he wanted to retire," and you got it right. So what's been the biggest challenge in the world for you in running a gas station?
When it comes to like, again, like retail businesses, you deal with a lot of people, right? You deal with, all sorts of customers. So when it comes to the station side of things, it's just making sure that everybody has a good experience, even though it's a 1 to 2 minute interaction. And kind of just going back to running the gym, it's about making sure that your guys are happy, your turnover is low, and just managing people and everything that they have going on in their lives. So when it comes to like retail businesses, again, you're either dealing with unhappy customers, because they had a bad day or whatever.
And they were taking out on you.
They're taking it out on the clerks and stuff like that. So mitigating some of those things and putting out fires where I can. I think that would be the biggest challenge. But outside of that, I love it. I get to go in there. And this is me going into, again, a gas station. I'm surrounded by junk food and snacks. And so I go into a challenge every single day. Stare those things down and go right into my office and drink some water.
The hot dog and the ketos, right?
What's crazy is like I have no interest in any of those things.
Good.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good Costco hot dog once in a while, but like I truly go in there and I don't really care for much of that. What's funny is like when we had our very first convenience store, I was in middle school. I would sit there and go with my mom or go with my dad. I'd sit there for 9-10 hours a day eating a bunch of ice cream and TV dinners and all that. I was a chunky little kid in middle school, but like now it's like I don't really care for too much of that stuff.
It's not attractive. You're not attracted to it anymore. It's not appetizing for you anymore. Is it because you've made up your mind, or?
Yeah, I think again, kind of like what you said. I'm not attracted to it anymore, just because it doesn't sound good to me anymore. It's kind of like DJing and going out, right? Like people go out these days, and I'm like, I have no interest, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was going out when I was 18 years old, man. Like, I have no interest in going out.
Right. Looking at the bottle of Henny, what does that do to you?
Oh,
now you're
God.
like, that look.
Oh God. No, when I left DJing, I left the Henny too. Like I stopped all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh God.
The Henny, right?
Gives me some. I could still taste it.
That means you had a lot. If just hearing the name, you're just like, oh.
That's because of Ken too. That guy always had something, man. I was like, I don't know how I'm doing this. That's what's surprising to me is like when I go out with like some friends now and it's like past midnight, I'm like, how did I do this? Like, how did I literally get home 5-6 a.m., get up and do it all over again? Like I genuinely have no idea how I accomplished that.
Yeah. For me, I just need to not get 6 hours of sleep, and I feel like I have a hangover without drinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't even have any alcohol, and I feel like I have a hangover.
Yeah.
Because I only had 6 hours or 5 hours,
That's sleep, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're right. It's different. But how do you balance business ownership and then coaching? I know you said coaching seems to be your calling, and that's kind of where I'm hearing. But how do you balance that? business ownership and coaching?
I think the blessing that I have with my staff is like, you know, it's all operated through them. You know, I tell them all the time, like, you guys are the heart of the store. You guys are the people that, you know, our customers interact with. You're the face, you're the billboard, and, you know, none of this operates unless you guys do the work, right? And having that sense of ownership with each position and each shift, I think that people understand, like, okay, like, it's not Anish's store, it's our store, it's our business, it's our
Nice.
our you know, our operation. And when you have those like-minded people that run your business like it's their own, you don't have to be there very much, because you can sleep better at night knowing who's there.
That's good. You have a good system and you have good people behind you.
Absolutely. You know, that's all it is just making sure that you manage people well, manage personalities, because every person is a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know, and I've, you know, from all the employees I've had, I've never had like one type of employee. I've had, you know, people that are immigrants. I've had people that are, you know, black, white, women, men, whatever. Like, it's all just about making sure that people are happy when they come into work, because if you're not a happy worker, you're not going to be a hard worker.
Yeah. I like it, man. That's good. I like that, because you're not approaching it in like, okay, this is how I tailored it for everybody. This is how everybody needs to kind of function. You're automatically saying, like, it depends on who I'm dealing with, and then that's how I'm going to approach the issue.
Absolutely.
Type of thing. How many stations do you have now?
I currently have one station, and then I'm in the process of buying another property right now. So
Okay.
I'm going to kind of move away from the gas station side of things, because I'm getting a little bit more into real estate is what I kind of want to pursue. So.
Oh, good.
I know. You know any good realtors? Or anything?
I know one very good one for you. So we're about to close, man. How about this? If you could go back to the younger you when you first, what would you say to him to kind of trying to get the regrets or lessons and looking ahead for you?
Be more unapologetic, because, you know, I think, you know, I'm not the best at this even to this day, but, like, you know, there's so many things that, you know, people have to decide on, and there's always tough decisions that people have to make and throughout their life, right? The next step: do I go to law school? Do I not? Do I become a coach? Do I not? Do I go back to working for my dad that fired me 3 times already? Do I not? Right? And then you get into the traps of, like, overthinking, but at the end of the day, you have, you know, such a short life. Even if you live till 100 years old, it's such a short life. And if you kind of constantly live through your life, you know, apologizing for the things that you didn't do, or maybe the things that you did do, then you're going to miss out on so much from the things that you can do.
Yeah.
Now.
Nice. You think that's good. That's good. How's your relationship with your dad now? Like, I know you said you have another regret there or something. You were pausing earlier.
Well, I mean,
the disappointment.
The second disappointment was, you know, I've always felt very different from, you know, everybody else, right? So, you know, there was a time in my life where, you know, I thought, just like I had to go to law school as a, you know, cultured, you know, Indian, I thought, okay, maybe I have to also marry and be with an Indian person, you know, and I knew that at one point, well, my wife is not Indian. She's Hispanic, and, you know, she's totally different than my brother's wives, my sister-in-laws.
Because that's what your culture wants.
that's, there's changes now that like, it's a little bit more modern now from what I've noticed, like there's definitely more, outer culture, outer heritage marriages that are occurring in the Indian culture. It's definitely more common now than it ever was. My parents were arranged, like full on were arranged. They weren't like, hey, go spend time with this person and see if you like him. It was like, hey, here's a picture. You're getting married next week, kind of thing.
She's the one we picked for you.
She's the one we met with their family, and and so that there was always that concept of like, you have to marry in the same culture, and you have to, be in the same caste system and be into that same direction. But just like law school, there was a certain switch in my head that said, that's not what's meant for me.
Nice.
I respect everyone that does it. And I'm, at the end of the day, I only wish that, people would, have happy marriages and all that. But for me personally, that just wasn't for me. And for a while, like my parents love my wife, they love my daughter, and they love everything that we're achieving together. And, good. And at the end of the day, that all they ever wanted was, again, what's best for their son, right?
For you to be happy, for you to be successful. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And, so that was their biggest concern, is just making sure that, I'm not, making a mistake or anything of that nature.
You're not screwing up, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Right. But just like, I fully believe, to everything that I've achieved to this day, like, I don't think I would have achieved half of it if I didn't just take the risks that I did, take the leap of faith that I want them to have alongside with me. And who knows? And I feel fully believe that they kind of understand that now. Good. Right. So
you kind of just needed to kind of assert yourself, right?
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help that my brother's married Indian. So it didn't really pave the way for me. So.
And you're the youngest one, right? So
I'm the youngest one. Yeah.
Everybody complied except Anish, man. That's why I fired this kid 3 times.
Basically, man. This guy just doesn't listen to what I want.
Listen to me. Oh, man, that's cool. What's something you regret, and what have you learned from it?
Something I regret. Man, that's hard, because, again, I look at every regret or every mistake that I have, and I'm like, that needed to happen.
The lesson learned.
I needed that to happen.
Yeah. Good.
I think, if anything, just not being more present, I think is one of the biggest things. Because, again, just like how my parents are, work. I think that's one of the bigger things, is being more present, that I'm still learning to this day. I feel like I make those mistakes constantly, where I'm missing out on so much. I have a 2-year-old daughter who is like growing faster than a weed.
Oh yeah.
And, I catch myself, sometimes my wife catches me doing it too. It's like, you miss out on those moments, and, because we're so consumed with work or the phone or social media, and there's so many more distractions to this day than there ever have been ever before. So I think that's what I would, want to obviously improve on, and obviously just understand moving forward.
Good. That's good that you realized that early, man. I
try.
My wife kept telling me before, carry your son. And I was, I had a restaurant at that time when my son was born, and on top of that, I had a Filipino store. So I was running 2 businesses, and she was telling me, like, spend time with your boy, carry him while you can. And I'm like, whatever, I'm working, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. And then now, before I knew it, couldn't carry him anymore. Yeah. It was 13. It was bigger than me at 13. And I've
seen pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. So What are you most excited about in the next chapter of your life? Because now you're a dad, having 2 kids now. You're married. You're trying to do another station. What's the most exciting thing for you now? Is it being a dad, or?
I think being a dad is one of the biggest privileges that I probably have had in my entire life. You know, but I think the bigger picture is I get to kind of create my own legacy, you know, for, again, my kids or my family.
Yeah.
You know, like this whole conversation has been like how, you know, we went from a single bed apartment to, you know, running gyms and running gas stations and being a DJ and, you know, having all these different endeavors and successes. But in the heart of all that was a lot of time, sacrifice, and everything from my parents, right?
Yeah.
From my dad building so much out of nothing. So the excitement for me is like I get to do the same, but at a much bigger scale than I think he could have, because we have, you know, endless amount of opportunities now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the exciting thing is, you know, building generational wealth and success. And I don't mean that just monetarily. I don't mean that by just money. I'm talking about building futures where, you know, my daughter and, you know, my future son and all that, like, get to, again, have more than I ever did, just because my parents gave me more than they ever did.
Right.
And if I get to continue that on a bigger scale, that's the most exciting thing for me.
That's good. That's good, Anish. That's good. That's what I tell my children, man. I tell them, well, you know, I want you guys to have something I didn't have before, and I'm sure I'm not doing a good job, like 100% in your eyes. So you get to make it better with your own family. So
Absolutely.
it's like a generation. We have to improve. Every generation must improve is kind of the mentality, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think that's what you're kind of talking about. You want to be present with your children, but at the same time provide for them on a higher level.
Absolutely.
Next level. That's amazing, man. Hey, as we close, man, I have some quick questions for you. Quick fire questions.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, because my wife loves Indian food. So does my son.
Okay.
I just love the chicken biryani. That's mine. But
Okay.
what's
That's a good choice.
what's your favorite Indian dish?
Man, I'm a sucker for the like tandoori chickens and anything made from a tandoor. So a tandoor is like a clay oven, and it's like gets so hot at the bottom, and you know you can make obviously kind of like a skewer situation where you put the meat on there and you cook it in this clay oven, and I think that
The flavor
is totally different.
Yeah.
I'm a big sucker for tandoori chicken and chicken tikka, and
Is this in your menu when you coach?
hey, tandoori. I promise you, if you eat tandoori chicken every single day, you still won't get like overweight, because again, it's still pretty relatively healthy, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it's anything. Honestly, at the end of the day, anything can be healthy. It's just about moderation, man. So for me, tandoori chicken. That's my go-to, man.
All right, that's good. What's the best Indian restaurant here in Reno?
Ooh, I mean,
Do you have one?
that's the one that I would say. I mean, my family and I just took my wife and my kid to India, so
Oh,
they got to experience that.
nice.
And the food over there is going to be vastly different. I mean, it's like going back to the Philippines, right?
Oh yeah,
You're not going to
done
get
it for a while, but yeah.
you know. But like if you go to the Philippines and you have obviously your traditional Filipino food, that that chicken adobo is going to taste a lot differently than it is out here,
That's
right?
That's right.
So I think Royal India off like Keystone is.
Royal India. Okay, I know where that is. I've been there.
I've honestly, I'm pretty impressed with them most of the time. Is like they do a pretty good job.
Okay,
So
nice.
that would be my Reno go-to.
Hey, Royal India, you got one for. You got one vote here.
Got one vote
That's a big vote too.
Yeah.
One workout you hate, but you do it anyway.
Barbell squats. I hate it. I'm a long femored guy. I feel like tight in the hips, especially when you turn 35 like me.
This makes it sound so old. All right.
But
What am I supposed to feel now? Go ahead. All right. Best business advice you've ever received.
not everybody can be an eagle. Sometimes you need ducks. So
I like it.
be an eagle or be a duck.
Oh, which homeboy did you get that from? That's good though. I like it. One thing about being a minority in business, people don't understand.
Not everybody's going to like you. And not everybody's going to understand you. But just always have clear intentions.
Like it, man. The resilience, bro. I love it. One thing you love most about your Indian culture.
Oh, man.
You gotta come up with one when you're on the spot.
This one's tough, man. I think the Punjabi music, the music scene right now is hot. I think everybody should, try it. Get on your Apple Music, get on your Spotify, tune in some Karan Aujla or,
There's this,
Diljit Dosanjh. Just get on some, Sidhu Moosewala and try to listen to some Punjabi music.
Really?
Especially if you want some hype music in the gym. Just turn on your noise cancellation, tune everything out, give it a try.
yeah. So the music, yeah, I saw a trending video where they use it on weddings. I think it's an Indian music.
Yeah.
Wow, it's cool, man.
It's blowing up, man. It's blowing
Yeah.
up now. You got collaborations with American artists. You got collaborations with, different types of hip hop, rap.
Mike is a big music guy, bro.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to chop it up.
Yeah, this guy, everything. He has his own segments in his Instagram where
Really?
send me your playlist and he'll give you like his
No kidding.
criticism. Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. He critiques.
I'm not sending you any of my DJ mixes though, man. Those are a little dated, bro.
Well, in closing, what's your message to other immigrants or minorities chasing a dream?
Take the risk. Don't be afraid to take the risk because, again, in this country, you cannot live with the regret of what you didn't do. You can only live with the things that you can do and did do. So take the risk, take the leap of faith, make the investment, and just do good, because I fully believe that good, if you do good, then you'll be good.
And you're not saying that you don't do it without looking into it, right? Because you're a thorough businessman. You look into it, you think about it.
There's obviously, thought out risks. I'm not saying close your eyes and turn a blind eye and not do your research. But if it's meaningful, it's going to scare you. Right? Mm-hmm. If it's meaningful to you, there has to be some sort of like, oh man, this is something that, the average Joe wouldn't do. They would walk away from this because, that it has to be scary. Yeah. It has to. But if it's scary, if it's meaningful, and obviously with clear intention and knowledge, then it's going to have the biggest impact.
Nish, man, thank you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
A lot of wisdom there, and in a calm way. You're just delivering it. Like I was, really, really surprised with how calm but still strong is all your message about your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I told him, I was like, it's just having a conversation, it's just about having fun and just getting to talk, about experiences and memories. And it's kind of fun, man. It's enjoyable to kind of look back on, but then it also excites me because I feel like I haven't done anything with my life. I feel like there's so much more that I could be doing and should be doing and will be doing, so it's kind of exciting at the same time.
I like that, man. You see that? You see your mentality? You got this from your parents, man. You're saying, right?
Yeah. Don't tell my dad that, though.
We'll send him the link. Anish, thank you very much, man. Thank you for doing this.
Appreciate it.
We're going to end it. Sorry I went over time. Your stories are just like...
Oh, no, it's all right.
Your life is just so interesting, man. Just kept going there.
I don't know about that, man,
but thank you very much for doing it. And to our listeners, thank you very much for listening in and watching. Again, this we try to put this show together to encourage, to educate, and to entertain. And Anish's life is all of that. Like what he said, if there is something that's meaningful, that's catching your attention, you should probably just do it. Don't overthink it. Do your research, and if it's meaningful, get into it. Right?
Hit that PR.
Don't negotiate with yourself, Chris. We're good negotiators.
If the weight doesn't scare you, it's not heavy enough.
That's true. Yeah. That's actually true. Oh, man, I don't even want to talk about my 225 journey, but folks, thank you very much for watching and listening in. Please, if you like this episode, and if you want to reach out to Anish, you can find him in Instagram or Facebook, Life, Lyfe, with Life, Lyfe, as Anish is his tagline. Mm-hmm. And then he'll help you. From at this point, we're going to end it. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. Hanggang sa susunod. God bless you and stay safe.